Hi, I've just been recording the lesson for my Patreon group, and today it was all about unique creative expression. And for me, this style here of 3D fabric sculpting is the current way that I feel is my highest expression of my unique creativity. And this is a technique that came spontaneously through me. It isn't something that I was taught by anybody else. I had to problem solve. How could I do beautiful couture embellishment onto accessories? This was for berets that I developed this without spending, 50 hours doing tambour embroidery because it's simply not cost effective. So that was the motivation for this technique's growth. But what came from it was much, much deeper. So I'm just putting the final touches here. Ooh, just auditioning it, deciding where I'm going to put it. Maybe tuck it in there. Maybe tuck it in here. It looks like it's part of that flower. I want it to look like a bud. So I'm going to pop it in up here. So that was the motivation for this exploration. But then I was just playing and experimenting, and I took all of the techniques that I love and the materials that I love and had a little play and put them together in a unique way. And the magic began to appear. Now, there were lots of different levels with this. First of all, I felt really, really happy and excited with what I had come up with. Very pleasing results, very quickly growing, but still had all the quality of the couture workmanship that I insist on having in my creative expression. And then on another level, I felt that it truly, truly was giving creative expression to a unique essence, that really true, authentic part of me that had been somewhat suppressed, I have to say. So when I first came up with this beautiful, soft sculpting of silk fabric, there was a part of me that judged it. Part of me loved it and felt really joyful and really expressed and really clever because I'd come up with a quick way of solving my problem without compromising my quality of work or the finished product. But then this deeper something came up. Now, still, I have a range that I use this technique for that I sell, and I call this range frou frou. And for me, there was quite a lot of judgment still around it. This expression, and I'll show you this piece actually while I'm talking about it. So this is one of the full pieces I've done where I stenciled a background. I did some tambour embroidery around the edges of her hair, and then I embellished her with these beautiful 3D elements in the same way as you just saw me stitching. And I felt fulfilled creatively. I felt joyful. I felt complete. And then there was this little voice of judgment that came in. And it's like, how can you judge something this beautiful? But because there was that part of me that hadn't yet been fully integrated, that I was still a little bit of ashamed of that softness, that vulnerability, that tenderness, that very feminine expression. I was doing it, but still judging myself and still disowning part of that self. Actually, let me change cameras so I can talk to you this way. Okay, so the word frou-frou, which was the title I gave this body of work, expressed it to me in a way, but also dismissed it. It's like, oh, it's just frou-frou, you know? And it's like, mmm, mmm.
made me think quite a lot deeper about how words have power, which is what my video last week was all about. So it's like, yeah, there needs to be some integration and some further ownership around that soft, tender part of me that loves to express in this way. A couple of years later down the track, I put it on anything and everything. You probably can't see, but the beret on the mannequin in the background is a beautiful velvet beret. That's one of the original series from a couple of years ago that I kept because I just loved it so much. And I cannot tell you the completeness I feel when I allow that authentic expression to come through my creativity. It's like all parts of my being come into harmony and then we express outwards into the world. Now, yeah, I just want to say, don't judge. Try and get yourself into a quiet place of centeredness. Breathe into your heart. Be playful. Start small. This is a small little frame. I'm only using leftover scraps of stuff that I've got in the studio. I'm not opening a great big canvas that cost me $50, and layering all that pressure to get it right or to be technically correct. Because once you play, now I actually made some of my best bits came out of the scraps, the offcuts. So I don't know if you can see, but that's like one of the shapes that you can see that I cut out. And then I will rip small bits of this, fray the edges, scrunch it up, and sculpt it into my pieces. Nobody taught me to do that. It happened organically from what I had in front of me because I was in this beautiful, joyful energy of creative flow. So that's my encouragement to you, my inspiration to you this week is to have a play, gather a palette of things that, ingredients, write a play, write a song, cook something amazing, go out into the garden, paint, embroider, whatever it is your creative expression wants to express itself through. And it could be different from month to month, year to year. Um, Allow it. Use all the things we've talked about in the previous videos, journaling to find those unexpressed aspects, rewriting your story. Now you can stitch your story or paint your story or really start to tap into that authentic energy and allow it to express through you. Now, the first few times there might be judgment, like there was with my labeling. So now I've reassessed all of that and I own the energy of it in a different way. Um, but it may take time. It may take years. I think for me, it's slowly but surely taken years till I got to this place of emotional intelligence and understanding. I was doing it, but I didn't fully understand why I was doing it. And that was part of the journaling prompts that I gave my Patreon this week was, why do you create? What's that motivation? What's that impulse? And unpacking a few more deeper questions around that can be really intriguing and really curious. And you'll discover things about yourself that you didn't know. And the other thing I do want to talk about is I used to do just like one little flower on a sample piece when I was teaching one-on-one with a client on Zoom. I just grab some scraps, show them what to do, and then my focus would be on them and watching them learn the technique. And then I would come back to this little scrap afterwards and think, that's actually quite beautiful. So I might add some more flowers and leaves to that and create a pin that you can pin onto your lapel or to hold a pashmina or a scarf in place. And I sell those little brooches in my Etsy shop for not very much money. And people love them because when they put that on, they are embodying part of my authentic creative expression, which then gives them permission to go out into the world and show a little bit of their creative expression. So, this is why I think creativity is doubly important. Not only is it essential for my health and well being, mental and physical, emotional, but we cannot yet understand how our authentic creative expression impacts other people, the people that buy our work, the people that look at our work on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Facebook, in a gallery, you know, the people that eat your food or listen to your music. Seriously, this is important, important work. So I just want to encourage you this week to go out, play, don't put any pressure on yourself, park the judgment, be kind and tender and loving to yourself, whatever comes out. And it might be something really dark that, you know, you haven't wanted to own, and that's beautiful as well. No judgment. See what you discover about yourself. And if you would like to see the full technique of how I shared my 3D sculpting technique for couture embroidery, you can actually buy that lesson without even joining Patreon. All right, so have a wonderful week of discovering and integrating more of your own creative, authentic expression, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.